Heidi Johannson, and welcome to Galas and Giving, Shaw TV Spotlight on local charity events. This is sure to be an incredible evening as the Alberta Diabetes Foundation hosts its third annual Hummingbird Gala here at the Shaw Conference Centre. There is much to be proud of as progressive diabetes research is happening right here in our city. And that's why we're here, to support the advancement of life-changing research. So let's join in on this party with purpose. The biggest gala that this foundation has hosted in years took many hands so that the 460 guests received a memorable experience. Executive Director Brad Fournier.
Our committee started getting together back in the springtime, actually. So it started then. It's been a labor of love through the summertime, and tonight is everything, right? It's the culmination of all the hard work, of the joy, and it's really a celebration.
A common thread running through the night is innovation and inspiration, right down to the steampunk motif.
Steampunk, so that is the theme for the evening. So it's if you look at the models behind us, it's a very Victorian vintage feel to it. The craft for this evening is very found object, so it's taking old things, keys, gears, a little bit of bling for the evening because we're at a gala, and turning them into something beautiful or useful. So the whole theme, I have like my pocket watch, it's a Victorian, if we stopped doing electricity and continued on with steam. So it's a fantasy genre. If you've seen the Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr., it's got a bit of a steampunk vibe to it. Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, those kind of things.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you, I looked it up. I Googled it when I knew that it was a theme.
Debated thing now, and there's a lot of different definitions of it, so.
Oh, okay. So, and these young ladies here, they get to choose a few items?
They can choose some charms. They get a piece of ribbon, they can thread it or I can thread it for them. I have a bit more practice and some of the pieces are kind of small. And we just thread it together and you end up getting a little piece of jewelry or a necklace just like that one.
Perfect. So pretty. And just for the record, I wasn't the only one that had to Google steampunk.
Everybody had to Google it when we first heard of it. I'm going with the traditional hat and the aviator goggles, and the rest is just plain me.
Already building on a history of accomplishments, the University of Alberta is tirelessly working towards a cure for diabetes, with breakthroughs occurring even within the last few weeks.
The big challenge is to move that from the petri dish, which is where it is now, to the person, to the patient. And that's where Alberta Diabetes Foundation funding becomes very important for us to continue this work and pushing it forward.
The partnership between this foundation and the research team at the University of Alberta is crucial.
The Alberta Diabetes Foundation has been a tremendous supporter of the diabetes community and diabetes research. And it's one of the big reasons that I came to Edmonton in the first place, because they provide an environment and the resources to do what is really some ambitious work, asking some big questions. The Alberta Diabetes Foundation has not shied away from asking those big questions, and that's one of the most supportive things that you can ask for.
So let's take a look at what diabetes research is doing right here in Edmonton.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I have type 1 diabetes. Living with diabetes is kind of like having a second shadow. It is always there, day and night, and it's unnatural. Sometimes it draws attention, and I'm okay to talk about it because it truly has become a part of me. But there are other times where it creeps up behind me and tries to choke me out. And it's at those times I fear for the future. But I'm lucky enough to live in Edmonton, where world-class research happens. And it is a constant source of hope for me and other diabetics around the world.
The ADI's mission, simply put, is to develop new therapies for patients with diabetes, ultimately towards a cure, and then translate them rapidly to patients not just in Alberta, Canada, but also worldwide.
Welcome to the Alberta Diabetes Institute. This amazing facility is partially funded by the Alberta Diabetes Foundation. The money helps bring in some of the best scientists in the world and pay for state-of-the-art equipment. So what sort of research goes on here?
Diabetes itself is a very complex topic. So therefore we can't just take one particular approach towards curing diabetes.
One unique approach is the Clinical Research Unit, where they do experiments on actual people as opposed to cells in a laboratory.
What happens in that research unit allows us to actually do experiments on people rather than at the bench level and on cells. And that's really important because it allows us to translate our findings at the bench level all the way through to the human population. A really amazing state-of-the-art facility which allows us to investigate the disease actually in humans.
You hear a lot about funding here at the Alberta Diabetes Institute, and for good reason. This kind of research costs lots and lots of money.
The Alberta Diabetes Foundation is incredibly important to our mandate. We have 50 researchers here, world-class researchers, and the funding from the foundation allows us to do things that other research institutes and centres worldwide can't do. So it really provides us an Alberta advantage to push forwards our search for better treatments and ultimately a cure in diabetes.
And if I didn't have diabetes, I'd still be a strong supporter because it really is such an incredible disease that is so pervasive that we need to get under control, whether it's in young children or in older adults. So it's a vitally important project to get behind and support.
Supporting the Alberta Diabetes Foundation has been something that feels like our organization has been doing forever, and it's an organization and cause that's close to our heart, both as an organization and our employees. It's something that we're all behind and we're pleased to support.
We donate because we would like to one day find a cure for our daughter Jessica so that she doesn't have to have this disease that she lives with day in and day out. We'd like to help find a cure so that she doesn't have the challenges that she does in just living her day-to-day life.
The profound effect diabetes has on so many of us is not lost on the scientists here at the Alberta Diabetes Institute.
You know, we focus a lot as scientists on little tiny things, little cells and mice and rats and things like that. But through the Alberta Diabetes Foundation, we see that the work we're doing can be brought to a higher level to have some impact on the lives of people every day.
Working on diabetes, it's relevant, I guess, and just seeing people benefit from it, yeah, it makes you feel good.
Without the support of the Alberta Diabetes Foundation and donors like you, the Institute would not be what it is today. A world-class research facility that's closing in on a cure. So I had to ask, are we getting close?
Well, Dana, I think the good news for you is that in your lifetime we'll very likely find a cure for this disease. I can't pin a particular year on when that will happen, but we're making big strides towards that cure, and we'll keep going at it until we find it.
And I was super happy to hear that. Knowing that a cure might be just around the corner keeps my hope alive.
Such incredible hope for those who live with diabetes. Joining in on this quest for a cure is Dr. Sangeeta Sharma, who has a united passion for research and children.
The kids are our future. We've got to keep the kids healthy. They're in school, they're learning an amazing amount of education for the school curriculum, but we need to keep them healthy so they can perform even better and so that they don't go on to get diabetes.
In our community and in our homes, we have the capability to get this disease under control.
We need the financial support, we need the publicity, the awareness around how important diabetes prevention programs are. And then you mentioned in the house, well, I don't know if you have children, but we need to feed those kids healthy fruits and vegetables. We need to give them healthy meals, not all that pop and chips. We need to teach them how to cook. We need to teach them good ways of making cheap food that's nutrient dense. Less of that candy and pop.
But is Dr. Sharma surprised by the outpouring of support from our city?
No, honestly, I'm not surprised. I think it's Edmonton. People are very gracious, generous, kind, supportive, and they want everybody to be successful in a collaborative environment to try and find the cure. Until we find the cure, at least to help with the management of type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Tonight, our city's generosity did not disappoint. A tremendous display of silent auction items were available, including the hope of a successful hockey season thanks to this Connor McDavid Oiler jersey. The always entertaining Danny Hooper had guests laughing and bidding throughout the night in his role of Master of Ceremonies and auctioneer. Topping off the fundraising efforts was the Degner family of Wayward Steel. Their matching contribution of up to $300,000 for the Alberta Diabetes Fall Campaign pushed the evening's grand total upwards of $545,000. Now that's inspiring. This has been a spectacular evening with hopes of coming that much closer to a cure for diabetes. For more information on this cause, go to albertadiabetesfoundation.com. And if you would like Shaw TV to cover your events, email us at galasandgiving@shaw.ca. From the Shaw Conference Center, I'm Heidi Johannson. Hair services for Galas and Giving is sponsored by Raw Beauty Inc., with medical facial aesthetics sponsored by External Affairs Medical Spa.